Have you ever heard the name Pataliputra? It's one of those names that just echoes through ancient history, right? A legendary capital, once the heart of these massive, powerful empires. But what if I told you that this incredible city, well, what if it never really went away?
Seriously, what if one of the biggest, most influential cities of the entire ancient world, I mean, a true global super city, is literally hidden right under the streets of a modern, bustling metropolis? A place where people are walking around every single day with absolutely no idea of the history buried just beneath them.
Okay, so let's get right into it. Pataliputra is the ancient name for the modern-day city of Patna in India. And this is incredible. We're talking about one of the oldest continuously inhabited places on the entire planet. A city with a story that just keeps going for thousands of years. So you have to wonder, how does a super city like this even get started? Well, its origin story is just fascinating. It didn't begin with some grand plan. Nope. It started as a tiny village that just happened to be in the absolute perfect spot for greatness. Let's just rewind the clock for a second, about 2,500 years. Picture this. On the banks of the secret Ganga River, there's this small, pretty unassuming village. It's called Pataligrama. It's quiet, but it's in a really strategic location, and its destiny is about to change forever.
And, the transformation from this little village into a massive capital city? It happens so fast. A king from the Magadha kingdom, a guy named Ajatashatru, he saw the strategic value of this place. He needed a stronghold to fight his rivals, so he built a fort right here. And that one decision, that was the spark. That fort didn't just stay a fort. It grew, and it grew, until it became the capital for some of India's greatest empires.
And when we say great empires, we really mean it. The very first to make Pataliputra its royal capital was one of the most powerful dynasties in all of Indian history, the Mauryas. This is the moment the city truly steps onto the world stage.
It's one thing to talk about size and power, but what did it actually feel like to be there? Just how grand was this city at its peak? Well, guess what? We don't have to guess. We actually have a dispatch from the past, an eyewitness account from someone who walked its very streets. So let me introduce you to Megasthenes. He was a Greek ambassador visiting the court of Chandragupta Maurya, and what he saw just blew him away. He wrote about a giant, incredibly well-planned city, protected by these enormous wooden fortifications. This wasn't just a place where people lived. It was an architectural statement of pure imperial power. And get this number in your head, 570. According to Megasthenes, that's how many watchtowers stood guard over the city. Can you just imagine that skyline? This was not just for show. This was an impregnable fortress capital. Pataliputra was truly the engine of the Mauryan Empire. I mean, from this one city, all the big decisions were made. Then, under the famous Emperor Ashoka, it transformed into a global center for Buddhism. And on top of all that, it was this bustling hub for international diplomacy. India's connection to the rest of the world, bringing in new ideas, new wealth, and really cementing the empire's global status.
But the story doesn't stop with the Mauryas. Centuries later, the city entered its next great chapter, what you might call its golden age, under the Gupta Empire. And this is when Pataliputra transformed all over again, but in a very, very different way.
You can really feel the city's evolution here. If the Mauryan era was all about political muscle and military might, the empire's powerful heartbeat, then the Gupta era was all about its cultural soul. Pataliputra shifted from being an empire's fortress to its brilliant center for science, art, and intellectual thought. This was India's golden age, and Pataliputra was the absolute epicenter. This is where brilliant minds were pushing the boundaries of mathematics and astronomy. It's where incredible literature was written and just breathtaking art was created. The whole city was buzzing with innovation. And we have another traveler's account that confirms this huge shift. Hundreds of years after Megasthenes, a Chinese monk named Foxian visited. And he didn't describe a military fortress. No, instead he found a city of peace and prosperity. His words paint a picture of a secure, thriving, and brilliant society. So, after all these centuries of power and brilliance, what is the lasting legacy of Pataliputra? Why does this ancient super city still matter so much to history today? Let's just break it down. Pataliputra wasn't just big, it was one of the largest cities in the entire ancient world, period. It was a planned metropolis with massive walls, hundreds of towers, and grand palaces. It was a nexus for politics, trade, learning, and culture, and it was deeply connected to other great centers of knowledge and faith, like the famous university at Nalanda. So, if there's one thing to remember from all this, it's this. Pataliputra was the undeniable political heart of ancient India. It was the birthplace of empires that didn't just rule a subcontinent, they fundamentally shaped the course of its history forever.